Supercharge your scenes with props. Learn to import, scatter, and migrate assets seamlessly. This video is part of our Unreal Engine full course. Subscribe and check the playlist for more tutorials. Now that we are done with the major buildings and the environment, I will start adding props to add more detail to my buildings. One of the best sources for us to get a variety of props and assets is the Quixel Megascans library. If I go to the Quixel Megascans library from the bridge, I have selected and downloaded some assets I would like to bring into my project. I will put the asset IDs for all these assets in this video's description so you can follow what I am doing. Since I have already downloaded them, I can start and export them to the project as nanite objects. Now, if I go to my content drawer, I will see a lot of new objects that I have added to my project. Remember to use the filter to filter the assets in the folder you are looking at. Here, I will select the ones I want to bring to my project. Remember that some previews of these objects may not show because of loading purposes, but you don't need to see them. You can just read the description to know what they are. If you double-click, open, and close each item, the preview option will be shown. However, it is okay if it doesn't show because you can always read and select the asset's name. I'm going to select and drag and drop them into the scene. As you can see, all the assets that I selected are now on the scene. I will right-click, put them in a folder and call it props. Let's arrange it so we can see what we brought into the scene. This will make it easier for us to place them in different locations. Let's turn off the visibility of some other assets so you can see all the new assets I downloaded and brought into Unreal Engine to scatter around my scene. Before I start scattering, I want to introduce another solution. What if you want to get some assets from another project to this project? For example, I have this scene with 2 assets and would like to bring them into my other project. I will show you how to transfer these 2 assets from this project to a different one. First, select your object. You will find the static mesh associated with this object in the details from there. I can find it in my content folder. This is the static mesh I want to transfer. When you send this object to another project, all the materials and textures associated with it will also be transferred. Right-click, go to Asset Actions, and select Migrate. As you can see in this window, sending this asset to another project will take all of the items connected to this asset, from texture to materials and materials located in different folders. Also, you may not need some of them, so you can deactivate their migration to another project. I originally acquired these 2 assets from the Megascans asset library. Click OK. Now, you must find the folder for the project you are working on and select the content folder. It is essential to choose the project content folder. When I select this folder, it will ask if I want to override some existing materials, as they are similar. Since these assets are from the Megascans library, they use the same master materials as what I already have in the project, so if you haven't made any changes to the master material, overwriting them doesn't matter. Remember, you can always choose multiple items and perform the same action. If I return to the content drawer, I will see the new asset I brought from the other project. Just look for them in the same folder. Now that I have everything, I want to discuss one more thing before scattering. What if I want to bring some assets from other sources? For example, I found this boat on Sketchfab, which fits my scene. I downloaded the file as FBX with its textures and want to get it inside my scene so I can place it somewhere in the scene. First, in your content browser, let's remove the filter. We already have a mesh folder in your content folder. Let's make another folder and call it boat. Now, if I go inside the folder, I have multiple ways of importing the asset. I can right-click and go to Import to find the asset. For example, this is the asset that I want to bring in. Also, you can hit Import here to find the asset and bring it in. When you open it, it will ask you about some options. The only thing is to build it as a nanite object so we don't have to make changes afterward. The rest of the settings are okay, so let's import it to the folder. Right now, you see that it imported the asset with the material. It's an FBX asset with the material and textures. Let's save them since we see the asterisk. If I open the static mesh, I see the boat is very small in the middle. Let's close it and open its material. The material on the ship is simple and less sophisticated than the materials used for the megascans library. Only textures are assigned to the different aspects of the material, and we don't have as many items that we can adjust as we did in the material instance, but it is okay at this point. I will just drag the boat into the middle of the scene. Since it is unrealistically small, I can make it much larger and put it near the other boats I have here. Now you know how to bring 3D objects from another resource besides Megascan Library to the Unreal Engine. Now that we have all the assets for our project, we can start experimenting with them and placing them throughout the scene. From now on, it's just a matter of moving things around. We can move objects and fill the scene with these assets. There isn't anything special about this process. It's simply about scattering your objects in a way that makes sense for your scene, moving and placing different copies in different directions to create a realistic environment. I'm constantly adjusting and placing objects in interesting ways. You can spend as much time as you want spreading and adding details to your scene. I'm copying and pasting the same items in different directions and locations. You can keep doing this for hours to get the final result you are looking for. Thank you for following along. In the next lesson, we will discuss color correction to enhance the visual quality of our project.